Okay. So I will be recording this again, like last month, and we'll get it up on our YouTube channel as soon as possible. But it's 7:05, so if anyone else comes in, I will let them in. But I think we can go ahead and get started. So just like last month, just some Zoom etiquette before we get started. We ask that all participants mute their microphones. That just reduces background noise, and if you need to speak, you can unmute yourself. Make sure that your background is appropriate and raise your hand to be recognized. And with that, I will turn it over to Jake if you're ready.
I am indeed. And actually, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to be using my screen. So could I share mine quickly here?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, all right. So, host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh.
So while we're doing this, the best way, and I know there's like we've talked about probably before on a couple different Zoom meetings, we have a couple of different ways that you can view your screen. And the first one is the Brady Bunch style, and then the second one is the speaker view. And so the Brady Bunch is called gallery view, the other one is speaker view. So if you want to switch to speaker view, that will put whoever's speaking or whoever's screen, such as you should be seeing our website right now. Somebody please comment if you're not seeing the website. But that way that'll show up nice and big on your screen, and you can follow along with my mouse is what we're going around. So I wanted to start off with a couple of different things in regards to summer camp, what we're planning on, and then what COVID stopped, and then where we're moving and what direction we want to and are planning on seeing programming happen, because this whole situation, I think we all agree, is just, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable, but at the same time, we still have a commitment to our scouts. We still have a commitment to the program and what can we do to help make that happen. So we've actually had a couple of awesome ideas and a lot of feedback coming from some volunteers and some other councils and stuff. So, but we're starting with the big announcement. If you haven't heard already, I think most folks have, but as a result of the coronavirus and the vast uncertainty in our region, in addition to constraints that have been placed on our supply chain, from everything from food to other things, other supplies and things that we need for making camp happen. We made the decision to keep everybody safe by not having an in-person resident camp. There's a lot of things that went into that, like I said, with how do we fix the things that are going on with the food service aspect, how do we fix the things that are going on with housing, do we have everybody in their own tent? Do we have people bring their own tents? And then with sanitation-wise, there was just a lot going on. And the CDC and the governor's office, and even the National BSA, with their guidance that they put forward, pretty much, I don't want to say made the decision for us, but it definitely made the decision a lot easier. And I can tell you that as of today, every single council in Area 4, with the exception of one, has already announced that they too have suspended all resident camp operations for 2020. And I believe that there are only 2 additional councils in Area 3, which is up in New York State, that everybody else in New York, with the exception of, I want to say 2 of them, have also canceled. So we're seeing, it's not just Central PA. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on there. But I guess, the big question is, okay, what does that mean for me as a unit leader, as a parent, as a scout? What does that mean for me now that we have camp, in-person camp, resident camp? So a couple different answers to that. Number one, on the Cub Scout side of things, we still are scheduling to have 2 different day camps going on. One, the one that will be most affecting y'all, would be in the South Williamsport Park. And more information for that is, you can find that right here at Cub Scout Day Camp. So you click on that, right there, and it takes you, you have your dates and your fees and a whole bunch of flyers and leader guide. So the South Williamsport Park is going to be the week of July 7th through 10th. To register, you just click that nice button there. It'll walk you right through the registration process. So Cub Scouts are still going to have an opportunity for an in-person program. Again, the benefits of day camp is obviously you're not staying over, so we don't have to worry about sanitation of tents and making sure you're staying 6 feet apart at that point. The other benefit is that we have the ability to have everybody bringing their own food in terms of their lunch. We're able to have that be more controlled in making sure that we're not having multiple people touching each other's food, and it's a lot easier to pull off a day camp in that sense for a Cub Scout setting. So if you are a PAC or somebody who has a Cub Scout who was signed up, if you want to transfer some of your if you want to transfer your registration over to day camp, send me an email, send Brian an email. We'll work to make that happen, and then we can work to do the refund process for the balance of anything that you have already paid in for resident camp. Additionally, say for other resources that we have for resident camp, we had the video of the May 12th announcement that I made, as well as a letter from the Susquehanna Council Key 3, and frequently asked questions regarding our May 12th announcement. So I'm going to click on that one quickly. This has been, it's been a couple weeks since it's been updated, but all this information is still current. Definitely encourage you to please download this, take a look at it, share it with everybody. This is the most information. I'll say that the vast majority of questions that we've received, the answers have been found in this document. So the biggest one was about refunds. Do I need to request a refund? The quick answer is no. The plan is that we are going to be automatically issuing refunds, and that will be done by June 15th. The only way that you won't be getting a refund is if you reach out to myself, if you reach out to Brian. Specifically, we're looking for that in writing. That way we have a paper trail and make sure that we're able to follow that up with. I've been asking folks to use suscamping@scouting.org, susq.camping@scouting.org when you're making that request. And you can either have your refund go to, like I said, a day camp, a weekend cabin rental, this camp in a box, which we're going to get to in a little bit, or if you're looking to push it to your 2021 resident camp. I know we already had, I want to say Chuck Murda's forwarded his over, so that way they've already got their deposit all lined up, and come the fall, don't have to worry about it. We recognize that not every unit is in the financial capabilities to make that happen, and not every family is in that financial ability to make that happen. So that's okay, and we want to make sure that we're working with you to get those refunds if that's the direction you're looking in. So biggest thing, like I said, is that you don't need to worry about requesting a refund, but if you want to have it go to one of these items, we need to know that. And we obviously need to know that sooner rather than later, because if we find out too late, then I would say if you could let us know that within the next 7 days, so by next Thursday, if we could have that answer, if your unit wants to have any transfers of funds to a different item. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and process those refunds, or begin the process of backing up payments and issuing refunds. So again, everything in here, including 2021 resident camp dates. The other benefit of if you roll over your reservation from 2020 into 2021 is that you're going to be able to lock in 2020 camp pricing. So for Scouts BSA, that was $380 for a youth. For the Cub Scouts, it was either $220 or $320 for the session, depending on whether you were going for the Sunday through Wednesday or the Sunday through Friday. So you'll be able to lock that in. We don't know, and I'll be honest, I don't know, because that price increase is going to be entirely dependent on vendors. It's going to be entirely dependent upon our food vendors saying, okay, well, now that we need to make all these extra steps as a result of COVID, with making sure that our folks who are driving our trucks and unloading the food into we have to have these extra sanitation things, so therefore we need to raise those prices. That's where that price increase would be coming from, is if there's any vendor increases to our supply chains. So we're gonna have a better idea of what the 2021 final fee is going to be probably by fall, but right now That's just an answer that I don't have, but I'm working really, really hard to get that done. So let me see, where was I? I'm sorry, there's a lot of information going on in here. So when you're looking at one other quick thing that I want to mention on for Cub Scouts is you'll notice that with our 2021 dates, the Cub Scout sessions have a Wednesday start date. And that's intentional. And the reason for that is it actually benefits you. It sounds a little weird when you're first looking at it, it's like everybody always shows up at camp on Sunday. But by having the Wednesday start, we're able to make sure that we're using the entirety of the weekend, of the Saturday and Sunday, so that you guys as the adult leaders and the parents and volunteers don't have to use as much PTO or vacation time with your employers in order to spend that session in camp. Because as it is right now, or what it was in 2019, 2018, and historically, you would show up on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, or a little bit later, depending if you had staggered times. And then you'd go through your program. Some of you would leave Wednesday, some of you would leave Friday. Nobody's at camp on Saturday. So you're using potentially Monday through Friday. Whereas with the Wednesday, you'll get all of Saturday where you don't have to use vacation time. You'll have all of Sunday where you don't have to use vacation time. So that was the reason for the shift. It also buys us a little bit of time to have a staff development session to take a real focus away from Scouts BSA. We finished up with the troops, we finished up with the merit badges. Let's completely transition, and we're building time in to offer an even better, more awesome, more wonderful program for our Cub Scouts. And by having those extra days, we're really going to be able to transform camp into something awesome. So that was the one thing I didn't address it in the FAQs, but that is one of the big changes that I want to highlight for folks. So are there any questions up until this point? From here on, I'm going to move into what the plan for this summer is going to be. So are there any questions up until this point? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to start sharing this. So we have been working really closely with a couple of different councils, and we've been working with some volunteers and some other key staff members to figure out for our troops what makes sense. How can we have camp in a feasible way while maintaining social distancing, while maintaining sanitation? And we came up with, okay, we could have a day camp, but again, one of the issues that we're running into is that there are, the CDC has put out guidelines that say, and the National BSA has put out guidelines that say, okay, when you show up to camp, you're in a group, a patrol, a den, whatever you want to call it, but you are in that group the entire time you're there. That group moves as a unit from program area to program area to program area to program area. The staff moves with, you have some staff that move with that program, with that group as well. The groups never commingle. They never come together for any form of ceremony. They never come together for lunch. They never come together for, or even swap. You have half of the group coming over and reforming into a new group in the afternoon, or even in the next day. There is no individual choice for those folks. So we tried to think of, okay, well, if we come up with 4 different tracks, and we can let the scouts choose from, okay, well, if you have these different badges and these different program areas, that the boys and girls on the troop level can choose from these different tracks. But we are still running into a lot of stumbling blocks and a lot of issues, because it comes down to the fact that Scouts BSA camp, or Boy Scout camp, whatever you want to call it, is camp because the youth get that individual choice. They get to make the choices on what do they want to see for a program, what do they want to do, because they might love handicraft and they may hate ecology, and that's okay. And under the old model, they wouldn't have a choice. They would have to go to each area and spend equal amounts of time in those areas. So in this model, we're bringing the choice back to the individuals. And this will be posted on our website tomorrow under resident camp resources, and we'll be sure to blast it out. Brian will be getting the PDF to share and everything. But the vision is we are taking camp online, and in a hybrid model we're calling it our camp in a box. So you as a youth or as a troop, because again, we still want to encourage troops to participate, and there's a couple different ways to do that. We have the opportunity again to bring that choice of program back to the individual scout. And so if I go through here quickly, mission goal, youth protection. Okay, so we still have a first year program ideal, but we have about 40 different programs or different merit badges or Trail to Eagle style programs that our scouts can choose from. Each one of these badges has been pre-approved by the national office as one that you can offer in a virtual setting. So, and some of them are actually a little awesome. So you'll see kayaking. Okay, how in the world am I going to do kayaking on Zoom? Well, the plan is that you'll participate if you're signed up for that, you'll sign up and you'll participate in the Zoom sessions during your week of camp, your week of virtual camp. You'll get through all the classroom portions, you'll go through all the first aid, you'll learn the different parts of the paddle, different parts of the boat. And then in the fall, we'll have a one-day extravaganza event for those folks who signed up for some of these in-person ones. And you'll actually be able to go through and do the in-person portions for things like canoeing, for things like kayaking, archery. And there's a limited number of those that have that ability for that one-day event. I mean, so for things like law or leatherworking mammal study, you'll be able to get the badge done, provided that the scouts put in the effort and the work. You'll be able to get those done during the confines of that week. But we had a few of them because we were trying to think, okay, we still want to get people out into the outdoors. And this was our way of kind of coming to a compromise of in the fall, in a date to be determined, we're going to make sure that we'll get some folks into camp for that setting. And then we have a few others. So then the next page is going to look a little bit similar to, again, something that you've seen before, is you have 5 scheduled sessions. They are each an hour and a half apart. Not every single session is going to take 90 minutes, but we wanted to build that in. For example, something like first aid is probably going to take a little bit more time in the Zoom session, than art. Whereas art might be a 15-minute, okay, the counselor is going to say, we're doing these things and whatever. And then that time from 10:30 on is going to be spent with the individual working on their art project to get ready to show at the next program time. So not all Zoom call-ins are going to be the same, but at the same time, we're building in that program area, that program time for our scouts to be able to work on some of these things. And you don't have to choose a line. If you want to jump from animation down to laud up to first class because you've already earned your second class and tenderfoot stuff, but you want to work on your first class stuff, and down to archery and then gardening, each scout gets their free choice of any of those during any time. Think of it like a merit badge college, and they'll be able to sign up for those things and do that as well. We're going to have 3 different weeks that we're running this. They're going to be in late July and early August. And the thought is that, again, you can sign up for one of these sessions because, again, you can earn up to 5 badges or do up to 5 programs in one session. If a scout wanted to do 2 weeks, or if they wanted to do 3 weeks, they could conceivably go through this 2-3 times. And if they choose different sessions each time, you could, okay, I'm going to do, kayaking, soil and water, public health the first time. I'll do painting, law, and genealogy the second time. They could end up really getting a lot of advancement in program out of this summer, even though they're not really leaving their home. So we're excited about this opportunity. I'm going to get to Spirit Day again. Like I said, I'm going to have to reorder some of this in a way that makes sense. We've been working on it a little bit here. So the fees and payments. So the cost for 1 week a session is $135 per youth. And that fee, again, covers up to 5 merit badges or programs. We still have that, like I said, that Trail to Eagle concept of being able to work on first year's advancements to get them to that vital role of first class. Studies have shown that a scout who achieves the rank of first class is proven to say that they have had the Scout oath and law and those values that we look for instilled in them later on in their lifetimes. So that first class time frame is super important for us as an organization to make sure that as many Scouts as possible can get there. So we have the online learning environment access. You'll get a camp T-shirt, patch, some merit badge kits. Again, if you're doing basketry or if you're doing leather work, one of those things that require some hands-on things, we're going to send those things to you. Some bonus camp swag. Again, I got to keep some excitement and surprises in there. And shipping we're going to mail a box out to you, so that covers all the shipping costs, and access to all the fun. So again, it's cheaper than summer camp because we don't have to worry about food. But again, this is, we have to make sure that what we're doing is, going to be high quality and everything along those lines as well. And it's going to be. Additionally, adults have the option if they want to. It's not required at all, but if they wanted to, they can get a bling box for themselves. Bling box. And that includes a T-shirt, camp patch, again, more bonus swag, and a special gift from the camp director and shipping. And the what I like to think of the bling box with the adults is, yes, you're getting that swag, you're getting the different things that we love, and everybody loves going to see Harry and visit him in the trading post and to get your traditional shirt for the year. But more importantly, the funding from that is really going to be going, anything above and beyond from those shirts and the patches and everything like that is going to offset the some of the costs, some of the losses that we're going to be suffering because we aren't opening camp. Just for a quick snapshot, and when we crunch the numbers, to not open camp at all is a $100,000 loss guaranteed. So it is huge money, and I get that $50 here and there isn't going to make up all of that, but again, we are just trying to do what we can to have some fun, to make the most out of the situation. It's not about the money, it's about the program. But at the same time, I want to make sure that what we're doing is we're still setting ourselves up so that Camp K is around for years to come, and that something like this doesn't impact us in the way that I've seen some other organizations that are taking a serious look at, are they going to be able to remain in business? We're not at that point, and this is just a way to help make sure that we never get to that point. So again, any extra fees, and we can sign up for an extra week, absolutely. Camperships is the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. If you received a campership for resident camp before we had to have that canceled, please reach out to me prior to going through the registration process. If you go through and you had a campership and I'm speaking from as a family, the Scout, and you sign up and you pay your $135, and then you say, oh wait, I had a campership. I can't really go back in time per se to apply it. It's a lot harder for me to look at it that way. Whereas if we get it ahead of time, we are going to be able to help work to transition those into this program if that's something that your family is still in need of. Previously awarded camperships are going to be adjusted because I know that there are a number of individuals that were awarded camperships that were in excess of $135. So we're going to be adjusting that a little bit down. Think of it as if, okay, so if $190 was 50% of 380, again, you can do some of that math to figure out kind of where your specific campership is going to lie. But I want to make sure that we have that opportunity to have that conversation, to have that email chain going back and forth, so that way we're able to help those families that are struggling a little bit, maybe from a loss of job from COVID or from furloughs or anything along those lines. If you are a family that did not apply for a campership but is in need of one, I encourage you to fill out that campership form, get it to me, and let me know, because I want to make sure that we're, again, helping out folks who wouldn't otherwise have that ability to attend a camp. But again, that $135 is a much more manageable price point than the $390 in the current environment as well. So I threw a lot at you. I know I've been speaking a lot, so I'm gonna shut up for a little bit and see what questions anybody has in the group.
I'll start.
Okay,
It's 135 per week, correct?
correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jake,
Yes.
kind of similar to that same question though, since the 135 includes camp t-shirt, patch, and all that, if they were to do more than 1 week, is there, discounts considering the fact that they're not going to need a t-shirt for each week that they attend?
It's going to be 135 across the board.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can, if they're doing a second week, maybe they could order an adult size for a parent or something like that.
Okay.
Are we using merit badge counselors within our area, or are they going to be out of the area?
It's actually going to be a mixture of both is the plan. So one of the things that we're doing is we are working with a couple of different councils to see, because again, everybody's in the same boat as we are, of what can we do? And so I know of a couple of councils that Dennis has been working with. I'm actually giving a phone call to the council I grew up in. I'm giving them a call tomorrow to talk to their scout executive. And the thought is that if we all come together and have a couple, if we have 3-4 councils that are working together on this project, then we'll have, again, everybody's gonna be certified, everybody's gonna be trained, and they're gonna have all the skill sets to be able to handle a session. But it might be from Susquehanna Council, they might be from Columbia Montour, they might be from New York State, which is, again, we get a little bit of flexibility given the virtual nature of this, but yeah, we're definitely going to be working with that, and I'm going to be taking this to our camp staff as well, and seeing what level of interest and involvement that they would like to take part in as well.
Jake,
Yes.
this is Bill Petrowski. Do you need blue cards for this?
You do not. No, actually.
Okay.
So again, we want to encourage that the scouts speak with their scoutmasters, with their leaders ahead of time to have that conversation of making sure that this, what they're signing up for makes sense given where they're at in their scouting journey. But the way that the Black Pug, because we're going to be running this through Black Pug as well. So the way that the Black Pug system works is that it will generate, whether you have a completed badge or an incompleted badge, will generate an automatic report. It'll give you a blue card. It will give you an upload that you can put into either Troop Master or one into Scout Book. So, which I know some different troops use different methods for tracking things. So it does both for you, as well as doing the actual blue cards that you can print out, either on cardstock for yourselves to cut up, or there's actually a 3 per page blue card that that the national office sells that we're getting into our scout shop, that you can run through an inkjet printer and it'll print it without any of the lines and stuff. So you get your choice again with blue cards on what that looks like.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Had 2 chat questions, Jake.
Mhm.
Karen would like Karen would like to clarify: virtual camp only for Scouts BSA,
Yes.
and day camp only for Cub Scouts.
That is correct. Yeah, we're at this point, again, we want to make sure that what we're putting out is quality. We want to make sure that what we're putting out isn't as much fly by the seat of our pants as we all know that. I mean, you're going to be talking about how do you handle den meetings, how do you handle patrol meetings and stuff later on in this roundtable, and we're all going through this new thing together. There is a possibility that we will have a couple of one-off sessions for various Cub Scout belt loops in a virtual setting later on in the summer. But at this point, these are the main 2 that we're planning on. Is we're still offering it. We want to have an in-person option for Cub Scouts, and we want to have a virtual option for the Scouts BSA.
Okay, second one was from Ashley asking, can camperships be applied to day camp now for Cub Scouts, since they will not be using it on resident camp?
Yeah, just Ashley, just send me an email, or if she's, I don't know if she's listening in or not. Just have her send me an email and with those specific individuals, and that way we'll be able to go through it and look at the list and see where that transition and what we need to do to make that that conversion happen.
And third is the adult bling box eligible to anyone?
Absolutely.
That's for me.
Yeah,
I want a
absolutely.
bling box.
Absolutely. Yeah, you do not need to be a registered adult. You don't need to. I mean, heck, if somebody from California wants to sign up and buy a camp patch and T-shirt, by all means, absolutely.
I'm excited to see my special gift from the director.
Hey, Jake,
Yes, Chuck.
could you do me a favor? Could you email me that stuff that you just put on? I was underneath Walt's sink and didn't see any of it.
Yep, no worries. We're gonna be, I guess I'm gonna be reordering some of the pages because as I went through it, I realized that it made zero sense to have some things down further in the document and some things for up. So I'm gonna be reordering the pages and then uploading it to the website, and then Brian and Walt are respectively gonna send it out to their districts.
Okay, make sure you send it to me, Brian, because I wasn't paying much attention. I couldn't hear it.
It's all good.
Thanks.
Yep. All right. I do have to run. Are there any other questions really quickly? I do have to run over to Seven Bridges soon. I know I'm coming up quickly in their lineup there. So any last questions for me before I get going?
Was all 3 shooting sports for Cub Scouts Day Camp happening, or only BB and archery?
That is a question that I don't have the answer to, only because I'm not ingrained in the day camp answers. My guess is that we potentially would be able to get these slingshots up into day camp. I just have to make sure that the staff is adequately trained on how to use those so that we're doing so safely.
Aces. Thank you, Jake.
Jake, as of right now, we only have the BB and archery scheduled for day camp. We don't have the slingshot scheduled.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so if that's something that you're interested in, give me a shout, because we can easily get the slingshots down, and I can work with Walt to see what we need to do to get the shooting sports staff trained up for that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, no problem. All right. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to give me an email at either jacob.horner@scouting.org or that susk.camping@scouting.org, or reach out through Brian. You all know how to get a hold of one of us. But again, we're excited. We want to make the best out of this situation. We want to make it work so that we have some form of summer programming. And again, I want to thank you, everybody, for your flexibility, for your patience, and for your dedication to the program. Brian, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me see if I can, there we go. Okay. So clearances, just like it's been, we're coming up on the 5-year mark. So Janice is working really hard and sending out emails when people are coming up on their date. But I would recommend, if you have a copy of your clearances, and everyone should, take a look at when they're coming up. And once again, those are the clearances that you need. If you have any questions on any of those, reach out to me, reach out to Janice, and we can help you with that. Iowa Lesson Blue, still scheduled for October 9th and 10th. NYLT, not sure if there's anyone on here who can speak to that, but Walt was, last time I checked with him, checking with the rest of his staff to make sure that their new dates work for everyone, and he will let everyone know that once they have that finalized. And Wood Badge, which we'll get to here. Wood Badge is still scheduled as it was. And we still have room. It's filling up, but we still have room. And I would definitely recommend, if you haven't taken Wood Badge before, sign up for the course. It's the best adult training that you can get in this program.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, good. Walt's still waiting to hear from a few staff. Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
anybody that wants to take IOLS, like a 17-year-old, it's going to be 18 this year, to be an assistant scoutmaster, tell them to sign up and take the outdoor course, take that course on the IOLS so that they can get it in. Because if they're going to be 18 after that, that's okay, just as long as they sign up and bring all the paperwork that they got to have, and they have to sleep in their own tents. But it's recommended to any of your older scouts, please tell them if they can attend, and we'll sign them up for it. Okay? Even if they want to help out with Cub Scouts and take Baloo, they can do that too. Thank you.
Thank you. NYLT will be happening in 2020. Walt's just finalizing with some of his staff if the date they picked works for all of them. But we are planning on it for 2020. And with Wood Badge, like I mentioned to the district committee last week, there's a good chance that Jake and I will be on that course. So if you want to take Wood Badge, you want to take it with me and Jake, this will be your time to do that. We can have 48 participants. Again, it's filling up, so get your registration in. Those are the dates right now. Again, we're planning on having them those days. If something crazy happens, we do have backup dates. For early next year, there'll be a winter Wood Badge, but we're trying really hard to keep it with the dates that we're scheduled. Any questions on any training before we move on? Popcorn, nothing much new since last month. Kickoff is still June 30th, and we are hoping, crossing our fingers, that we can do that kickoff in person. We're working with Harry, and if things go green and we're good to meet in person, it should be at Messiah, but we're waiting on the final okay from them and to see if we go green and can actually meet. And of course, we could use a council and district colonel. So if anyone's interested in helping with popcorn on the higher up than the unit level, let myself or Walt know, and we can get you set up with that. It's a great time. You get to wear the corn hat, so I highly recommend it. So we have some collectibles that you can get during your remaining days of quarantine. Of course, we have our Stop COVID-19 CSP. Those are due by June 4th. So if you're interested, if your scout is interested, we need those in by June 4th. New, we have a quarantine recruiter patch for any youth who recruit a new scout, or an adult who recruits a new commissioner or district committee member can get this patch. So I think it's a pretty cool patch, so encourage your scouts to recruit a friend, and if you want it, make sure that you get us a new commissioner or district committee member. And of course, we have our second annual Little League pin. They are $10 for the 2 pins. They're only sold in sets. But because Little League was canceled this year, we're expecting this year to be highly collectible. They're going extremely fast. So if you want one, make sure that you get your money in as soon as possible, because I don't think these are going to last very long. And then just a reminder, here are the requirements for your Scouting at Home Stop COVID-19 patch for the youth. And then, of course, for the adults. So if you want to earn it, you have your own set of requirements. And again, we need those and the money by June 4th. The Fall Camporee is scheduled for October 2nd to the 4th. Keeping the same theme, keeping the same patch, except changing spring to fall. But it'll be a real good time. I'm really looking forward to this one. So last week I was told about a scout from Pack 21 who had written a letter to the postal workers at the Montoursville post office, and they hung that thank you letter up, and they're so proud of that, and it keeps them going. So I'm issuing a challenge to every single unit to have your scouts write letters to workers who have been working through the whole shutdown. That can be anyone from the postal workers to doctors to the person who makes your coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. Just letters thanking them for what they've been doing. And then we want to hear how much of an impact that we've had. So making some final tweaks to a form that I'll send out early next week for you to fill out once you have your unit complete this challenge. I want you to fill that out to tell us how many scouts participated, how many letters went out, how many service hours were put in, and who was affected, what kind of people you sent letters to. And I believe we have something in the chat. Yes, very good. Just a reminder that if you're just coming in, make sure that you stay muted unless you need to say something, just to cut down on that background noise. But yeah, I'm issuing this challenge. I'd love to see in the next couple weeks every single unit in the district participate and make a big difference in our communities. Day camp, Jake kind of touched on this in his program earlier on, but registration is open on Black Pug. The Leaders Guide is out, and this is going to be the best Cub Scout opportunity this summer. Our Cub Scouts still have that in-person camp. We have one in South Williamsport, and it's a really great experience. Yeah, but the registration is open. If you need the link to that, let me know. I can send it to you. I put it up in the Facebook group the other day, so it's there. And then Dan and Bob, I'll turn it over to you if you would like to talk about what you've been working on with this.
Dan, you want me to start?
Go ahead, Bob.
Probably about a month ago, I corresponded with Dennis Dugan, Zach and Brian and Bill Carlucci. Bill Carlucci and I, for the past 4 or 5 years, has kind of co-chaired this flag march because our friend Tony Disalvo just wasn't up to it any longer. He was involved until his death here a couple years ago. We made the unfortunate decision about a month ago that we needed to cancel this flag march. I reached out to Mayor Slaughter at the city because I had actually spoken to him in January about this at an event where I saw him. He was highly supportive of us continuing the flag march. He told me at the time that the city is not issuing any special permits for any group gatherings. So they would not have permitted us to have this either. we felt it was important that we did something. I also reached out to Tony Disalvo's son, Tony the third, who was a good friend. I wanted the family to be aware that we weren't doing this this year, unfortunately. But I did tell him I wanted to at least put an ad in the paper, as we've done in the past, to encourage people to honor America by flying their flag, and to do so to remember Tony Disalvo. This would have been the 37th year that we would have had this flag march. So this is the first time in 37 years, believe it or not, that we won't be doing this. We did feel that we wanted to do something for our scouts, for our scouters, and to honor Tony's memory. So we're going to, and this is still a work in progress, but we want to throw it out and maybe get some input. Some of you might remember that Tony Disalvo had petitioned the National BSA to create a flag etiquette merit badge. He was actually turned down, which was one of his biggest disappointments. We thought we wanted to name this award the flag etiquette, a flag etiquette badge of some type. Brian, you didn't put the requirements on here, did you? Just the slide? Okay. These are some initial thoughts that these came largely from Dan Williams, but he and I have gone back and forth on these. Some of these requirements, as you probably will recognize, are first-class requirements, tenderfoot second-class requirements to raise and lower a flag, to show respect for the flag, to tell how it should be displayed and such. We want to put these together in some kind of a program that a scout would get this. They would go through these. They would complete these requirements. Probably we would have a unit leader sign off on some of these requirements. And then we're going to create a patch. Our thought here is Flag Day is not all that far away, only 3 weeks or so. We were thinking we would roll this out on Flag Day, get this in the hands of our scouts, let them complete this, maybe give them 30 days to complete it, turn it in. We'll have a committee that will review these, and then we'll have a process to award patches. We've not yet designed the patch, but that'll be coming here very shortly, and hopefully by Flag Day on June the 14th, we'll be able to roll out what that patch is going to look like, roll out these requirements, and get our scouts engaged. So that's our thought process. Dan, you want to add anything to it? Did I cover everything, or what do you want to add to it?
I think that was pretty much it, other than we would really like to see this become a year-round in and out award. Something that could be a staple in our council. Yes.
I was looking at your proposed requirements. There is also a wolf and a tiger, and I believe a Webelos. So depending on their rank, there's a flag requirement in each of those programs. So you could almost do it in a way where if we did it on a Cub Scout level, then we could have a device for them when they cross over and then earn it again as a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Or do a Cub Scout border and a Boy Scout border.
Some of those actually coincided with the Boy Scout requirements. So like number 4 is a wolf requirement for participating in a flag ceremony.
Right. And then I saw the bear one on number 1. That's what I'm saying. So maybe we want to do a Cub Scout level 1 and a Boy Scout level 1.
Well, we weren't thinking of that initially, Dennis, but I guess that has interesting possibilities if we want to create 2 different. Because
that way, if a kid stays in the program, gets his Arab Light, goes into Boy Scouts, he could earn it again.
Under a different patch in Boy Scouts. So we could, we could entertain that idea. We have,
we can talk about it. Like I said, I'm a big fan. I just hadn't had a chance to get to you guys. So
Well, and that's why we wanted to just throw this out to our scouters to see if anyone had any, so that's an interesting idea to consider. Anyone else has any input here as we look to finalize this? We just want to have an open discussion.
The only thing I'll add on that, I'm okay with either way. On requirement 8 of the participation in the Flag Day March, an idea I thought was to change the color of pin, and they can have an extra pin for each year that they participate. That I think can carry over anywhere from a lion all the way to eagle to adult volunteer and down until you run out of room. I don't know if you have a thought towards that.
Any other input from anybody? We'll continue to work at this to fine tune it, and we hope to roll this out on or near Flag Day. We're going to put an ad. I've talked to Tony's son. We're going to sponsor an ad in the paper, like I indicated, and maybe at that time we'll actually be able to announce what we're going to do with this. We'll have our plans hopefully finalized by that point in time. But no
Bob,
other input.
just reach out to me offline and we'll get together and we can talk about it a little bit. I'd be happy to help.
Sure.
Thank you.
Because we do want to put a committee together to make sure this is and I also want to run this by Tony's family. I'd like them to be not necessarily to approve the requirements, but just to let them know what we want to continue to do to honor Tony's memory. I just think that's the right thing to do. Back to you, Brian.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any input on this before I switch slides? We do have a rough idea of the patch that Dan came up with. We just don't have a physical picture of it yet. But that should be coming in the next week or so.
Rough. My artistic days are behind me.
Okay. So sometime in August, we will be having a recruitment kickoff. The date is to be determined. I will be working with Dan and Denise over the summer to see if we want to do that at Roundtable or if we want to have a different day. I'll be working with them to figure that out. But we'll have food and activities. It'll be fun and not just let's come sit around and talk about recruitment. But at that time, I would like to have your recruitment information, your date and location and how many flyers and different things like that you're going to need. And I'm tweaking an online form right now for that you will have sometime next week to fill out. We have picked our 2020 Williamsport Distinguished Citizen. We'll be honoring Keith Cusio from Larson Design. And we are looking at a date in September for that event.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, more information on that to come, but we've narrowed down pretty good to a couple dates in September. Okay. Dennis, I hate to put you on the spot, but no one from the Jamboree Committee got back to me about presenting tonight, so I'll go through this, and if you want to jump in at any point, feel free. Okay, so we are still looking to fill a contingent for the Jamboree. It will be next year, July 21st to the 30th. To register, go to jamboree.scouting.org. And right now we're looking at doing presentations at units. I'm not sure, a couple of you might have had someone from the Jamboree committee reach out to you. But if you're meeting either over Zoom or if you're meeting in person now and you want to have a Jamboree presentation, let me know and we will get someone at that meeting to talk to your scouts about how great the Jamboree is, because it is a once in a lifetime opportunity that every scout should have the opportunity to get to. That is the cost for youth and adults. There are scholarships available from the national organization up to $600, and you must apply with the national organization for a scholarship no later than May 31st. So that is 10 days from now. So it's at the summit located in West Virginia's New River Gorge region. There's river rafting, 5 miles of zip lines and challenge courses, and our big zip is the most incredible zip line I've ever seen. Rappelling and rock climbing, 36 miles of mountain biking, 13 acres of shooting sports ranges, and more. There's really anything that you would want to do at a scout is available at the Jamboree. We're looking for 60 scouts for our contingent with youth leadership positions, 8 adult leaders. Dennis is the staff advisor and Mike Stender is the committee chair. In preparation for the Jamboree, we're having council Jamboree committee meetings, Jamboree troop meetings, 2 overnight troop campouts. They send out a packing list, and there are council fundraisers. So if that price seems a little steep, there are fundraising opportunities to help get it down. Scouts must have a current BSA membership. They must be at least first class and must be at least 12 years of age by the first day of Jamboree. Or an 11-year-old that has graduated the 6th grade but has not reached their 18th birthday by the last day of the Jamboree. And they must be approved by their unit leader and the local council. They must have appropriate parent or guardian to complete the online parental consent. They have to participate in all pre-Jamboree training experiences with the council, have a BSA health and medical form, and submit all registration fees per the council's payment schedule. Are there any questions on the Jamboree? Again, I think I mentioned last month that I went in 2010. The last year was at Fort AP Hill, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my scouting career. That in 2013, when I was too old to go with the council contingent, I signed up to be on staff. Dennis, we have a couple questions in the chat that you might be able to answer.
All right. The payment schedule, Mike should have sent it out. We actually have developed books for everybody who's registered. For Shirley, I just want to let you know, I clicked the button for Thomas today, so you should be getting an email saying he's all set, he's registered, everything's set. And back on the slide, it's a really simple, I believe it's just jamboree.scouting.org is how you can sign up online. And then you can sign up through our website and make payments through Blackpug now. Do I know if Jake set it up? I will have that answer for you before Brian's roundtable is over.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there any other questions? Mike Sullivan is the Jamboree Scoutmaster. His email and phone number are on the screen now. So if you have any other questions, he's a really good person to talk to and can probably answer anything that you're not sure on. Are there any other questions on what we discussed tonight before we move into our program? Seeing none, just before we jump into that, I just want to say a quick reminder that now that we're in the yellow phase in our counties, you can start meeting again. Before you start meeting again, you need your charter organization to approve your meetings and then follow their guidelines. If they say you're okay to meet on their property, or if they say you're okay to meet, but you have to go meet at the local park, and make sure that you're following all guidelines such as wearing a mask, staying 6 feet apart, no groups larger than 25. And if you have any questions on any of those regulations, feel free to reach out to me and I can help answer anything that you have.
Brian, is that a link for all those?
For the opening regulations,
Yes.
I had sent in an email a while back, but I can send it when I send out these slides.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. If there's nothing else, I'll turn it over to our roundtable commissioner. She's muted. There you go.
Hi, everyone. Not much to talk about tonight. We do have a special guest that's going to talk about some of things that you could be doing during this pandemic with your scouts to get them out and about and have your meetings. And I believe it's Dan, correct? Or Dave? No, it's Dave.
It's Dave. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Dave. Okay, go ahead and go.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, I'm at a little bit of a remote location. I decided to get out of town and go have a campfire and stuff. So,
Good for you.
thank you. First off, I just want to say real quick, I know that many of you, I've known so many people in the council for so long. Many of you know about Carl Stamm, and I just want to say really quick, he's a dear friend of mine, but he had a battle with cancer and he lost it last night and he passed away. And so everybody that knows Butch from camp, at this point, I just wanted to let everybody know that that's happened, but also just kind of give him a quick moment of silence because he spent 16 years at camp and as a camp counselor. And so I'm just kind of going to dedicate just a little moment of silence for him, if that's okay, if everybody's okay with that.
That's fine.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So thank you very much. That means a lot to me, and also about 20, 25 other guys that all used to work at Camp Kernan Hall that we're all basically hanging in there, watching what's going on. Some of us are still active in scouting, and really just, it was a big shocker for us. But I appreciate that. So anyway, moving on. Thank you very much. One of the things we've been doing is basically I've been using GoToMeeting, but we kind of continued on with religious awards and stuff like that through GoToMeeting. Some of the obvious things that some people may be doing already. That's been very helpful. Even tonight, I'm in a remote location, but I still was able to load up my laptop and have a GoToMeeting going for our pastor at St. John's United Methodist Church, Pastor Lenore, and she was meeting with 2 of our kids doing religious awards tonight. We've been doing that for the last month, and so that's worked out really well. I had a meeting, an online meeting with basically my leaders and some parents with the PAC on Monday. And the one thing we've determined is that we've decided, because St. John's United Methodist Church has decided, our charter has decided that because of, and Bob Weaver can touch in on this, Bob, if you want to jump in, but because basically they've decided to not, allow meetings. I may not be saying that the best way, but I understand why, but it's part of the United Methodist Council. It's part of, that governing authority has said they've decided not to allow meetings still within the premises. So, which is fine by me, because my idea, I feel that scouting has, the background is outdoors. This gives us an opportunity to hike, to enjoy the outdoors. And so what I've done is I've asked my den leaders as the Cub Master, I've asked my den leaders to go ahead and weekly, up until about June, I think I was like, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but like June 18th or so, I think it is. I've asked them to basically meet offsite wherever they can, 2-deep leadership, make sure youth protection rules all apply, wear masks if they're within, 6 feet of each other, if that's in their garage, but I've asked them to actually go to state parks, to do hikes, to go through those requirements. And so we're all meeting as dens individually. What we're faced with, though, is we want to give everything everybody else is faced with, graduations and award ceremonies. We want to give our kids something, our scouts something to remember as they advance. And so right now we have 2 options, depending on where the state's going to be and, whether we're yellow or green or whatever. But our yellow option, if we want to do an award ceremony in June to advance our scouts, we've already had our blue and gold banquet. We've already had our advancement, from some of our kids that crossed the bridge and went into from Pack 14 to Troop 14 prior to all the COVID-19 things happening. So we were happy we could advance those kids. At the end of the year, we normally do a face painting, ceremony. We advance everybody to the next rank. So we're either going to do, if we're still sheltering in place, we're going to do an online meeting. I'm actually going to Facebook Live to the pack, to our private Facebook page, and hand awards out basically, from my house, and that way parents and grandparents and relatives can all join and see, basically Facebook Live. And it'll be myself and my assistant Cub Master where we'll hand the awards out, and then I'll just probably most likely drive them around and drop them in mailboxes to all my Cub Scouts in the pack. The other option we thought about is, and we still have to talk to the church about it, is we thought about a drive-in award ceremony in the parking lot at St. John's Church, where we just pull in, we put up a little PA system, people can pull up in their cars, they can have a basically every other spot kind of deal, and we'll set up an awards table, everybody will be wearing masks, and we'll pretty much just basically each family can kind of bring in their own drive-in picnic kind of thing, and we'll come up with some kind of creative programming. We can't do face painting. We've talked about maybe trying to do projection or something. I don't know if we can accomplish that in the daylight, but we're just trying to do something that is going to be memorable for the Cub Scouts as they advance into the next, into their next rank. And so that's pretty much what we're doing. We're trying to use technology. It's been challenging because we do have people that, we tried using Google Meet last week, and as Bob can attest to, it didn't work very well. I have a GoToMeeting platform that I use for my job, but the problem with that is it only can hold like 11 people. And so that's why we've talked about going, and I'm hoping there's no BSA, restrictions to doing a Facebook Live video and streaming an award ceremony. If somebody is, please speak up and let me know. But as long as we have photo releases and everything else for all the kids, that's basically what we're planning on doing. It's meeting individually and doing some kind of online. We also talked about maybe a field and a picnic or something, but we're still going to come up with something in the next few weeks here to be able to conduct an award ceremony for our kids. So they have something, other than just getting a bag of, awards and a rank badge in the mail and saying congratulations. So that's about it. Hope that's helpful.
Yeah, it is very helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'm
these-
available, my email's there if anybody has any questions that, I can also, report back and let you know what we've fallen on between those choices, between either doing a complete just live stream award ceremony, or we do a drive up in the parking lot kind of thing. But one way or the other, we're going to come up with some idea to kind of make it fun and memorable, and something that they can share as a family to be able to see their scout advance into the next rank. So
Denise, can I say a couple things, please?
Sure can.
I did listen in on Dave's meeting on Monday night, and I thought he was being pretty creative with some of the things he's encouraged his leaders to consider. And I thought maybe sharing that with others, maybe somebody could pick up an idea as well. I did want to pick up on one of the things he said regarding the church's decision not to permit meetings. In addition to being the commissioner for Troop and PAC 14, I'm also chair of the church council at St. John's, Newberry. The advice we got from the Susquehanna Conference of the Church through our bishop, through the cabinet, was that we needed to suspend all youth ministry meetings. We consider the scouting program to be part of our youth ministry, the big part of our youth ministry. As a matter of fact, the church has sponsored Troop 14 for 103 years now, continuous years. So we had to make the unfortunate decision that we needed to follow that advice that's coming from the leaders of the church, that we just had to postpone those meetings, the in-person meetings for the scouts, unfortunately. Once we go green, hopefully we can make a different decision, and hopefully we can do that soon. So I just wanted to provide that, and much of this is like what we hear, people don't like what Governor Wolf is saying, but yet we need to follow the advice. So whether we like or not what's coming from the leaders of the church, we need to follow their advice. So just wanted to share that background.
Thank you. It's good that if we're coming into summers that we can do the outside stuff right now, not in the middle of the winter. So we're lucky for that part. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, Brian, back to you.
Yeah, if we wanted, again, anyone who might be struggling or anything to come up with ideas, now's your time to, ask questions or say, look for additional advice. Because
If anybody out there has any other ideas,
yeah,
tell them to us.
Denise, for PAC 66, we're planning to meet at the park. So for us to comply, what we're doing is we're just going to do one den at a time. That way, because we're a little bit larger of a pack, we're over 25. So we're doing like a 2.5-hour program, but each den will only have a half an hour. So we're making up little goodie bags for them since we can't do our traditional crossover ceremony. We'll have them each come in. We'll, do the little congratulations for them earning their rank, give them their awards and their goodie bag, and then that den will be able to leave before the next den comes in.
That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, I would, I'll just share what, Karen put in the chat. PAC 80 is making yard signs for their scouts for rank up ceremony. Parents will take a picture of their scout with their sign, and they will compile it into a slideshow, and are also providing a PAC meeting in a box with the garden theme. I think that's a really great idea and a really cool way to recognize the kids in the community, and probably not a bad recruitment technique either.
I wouldn't forget there's lots of opportunities for service projects. I know Troop 14 this past Saturday, Veterans Memorial Park on West 4th Street, the west end of the city. We had 8 scouts and 4 scouters and 2.5 hours mulching that site for them, for the veterans group. That was a great outdoor activity, way to keep the kids separated. We all wore masks. This Saturday, we're going to place flags on graves in Wildwood Cemetery. John, you want to say anything about that?
Other than it's at Wildwood Cemetery here in the city of Williamsport. It's at 9 o'clock. If you're turning off a high street onto Wildwood Boulevard, You'll be going up to the cemetery. It'll be on the right-hand side, up at the tower. If you go to the right, when you turn off of the main drag, up into the cemetery, keep turning right, and you'll see the radio towers. That's where most of the veterans are at, and that's where they'll be placing flags there. It's open to anybody.
I guess
You're
that's why I brought it up. If any of your scouts want some service time or want to participate in that, great opportunity to share some time with fellow scouts.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay, so I went through and I got a hold of Jake. The council website will be able to take Jamboree payments online starting June 1st. Shirley, if you send an email to Mike Sullivan, and I'll have Brian put Mike Sullivan's email address in the chat box. If you send an email to Mike, he will get you a payment booklet sent to you. And anybody else who signs up, if you just send Mike an email, he'll get a payment booklet sent. The other piece is, and I want to just take a moment and thank all of the units that have been posting on Facebook or keeping me up to date with all of the flag ceremonies that you've been doing. It's really good. I share them on both my Facebook pages and then the council pages when I see them. Brian does a good job. We're being recognized by the communities. I come in most every day to the council office now, and there's usually 1 or 2 phone messages from people that appreciate it. For the units that have completed flags at their cemeteries, if you have any extra flags, let me know. I've actually gotten some phone calls from a couple of really small cemeteries that some of the units did it where it was a family piece to go out and put flags on the cemeteries, but they didn't get to all the veterans and they didn't leave any extra flags. So I've gotten some phone calls going, do the Boy Scouts have any flags? I even had people willing to pay for them, and I'm like, Tony Disalvo was the flag guy. I have no idea how to get flags, because I think in most places the veterans provide them to the scouts. I don't know how it happens for every unit, but if you do, just shoot me an email. Let me know. On the bright side, I have Brian available that I can send around to pick some up, and I can get them to where they need to be before Memorial Day. But again, I just wanted to thank you all. The other part is, it's been more than just flag drives. I've seen contactless food drives. I've seen some other projects like the one that Bob Weaver was talking about. That's the part that can happen even if we're not having regular meetings. Just reach out. Your kids want to put a mask on. They want to be outside. They want to see their friends. Even if they can't hug their friends, they're tired of seeing them on TV screens. So the more we can now get them where they can participate in some activities and at least know that their friends behind the masks are still there and they still find jokes funny, that's a good thing, and it's a win for us. So that's my soapbox, and I'm done.
Dennis, it's my understanding the Veterans Affairs Office for the county provides flags for every veteran's grave in Lycoming County.
All right, I'll reach out to them tomorrow. Like I said,
I know that, well, Don Coik. Don Coik served in that position once upon a time. And I know when he served, they bought flags every year for every grave of every veteran in Lycoming County. So that should be a source for flags.
Okay.
I also think there are some flags left over in the basement of the scout office from last year's flag. Have you checked that?
I'll check that too. Like I said, I was
always
never that engaged in it because I had Tony and I had Rick, but now this year I don't. So I'm a skosh more involved.
It was always Wegman. Wegmans every year would donate Tony would have them donate 500 flags every year. We never went through that many flags at the event. I'm thinking there's some flags in the basement at the service Center. You ought to check
Okay.
on that.
I'll check that tomorrow. Thank you.
I would try that because I think there should be some left.
Awesome. Thank you.
A
And I
note
got your
from-
note too, Shirley. Thank you.
Is there anything else? If anyone is having any more end of the year award ceremonies, or if you haven't had your blue and gold yet because this pushed it all back, I would love to attend these things. I'd love, now that we're in the yellow, to get back out and see some units and meet parents and everything. And this is our last roundtable until August. I don't want this to be the last time I see you all until August. So I'd love to come out to some of your events. Let me know when they're happening. I'd love to see you all at some form of camp this summer, so make sure that you're signing up for that.
Brian, you'll see that I'll get a list of everybody that was here tonight, right?
Yes, I will be able to get that. If there's nothing else, thank you all for coming. Again, our next roundtable will not be until August, but I hope to see you sometime over the summer.
Thanks, Brian.
See everybody.
Thanks and see you.